to All the F Words,
a podcast where two writer friends, nearly 30 years apart, explore everything we give an F about. I'm Gabi Moskowitz.
And I'm Joanne Green. On each episode of All the F Words, we'll focus on a theme that starts with the letter F. Themes like friendship, family, failure, fear, and fatigue.
We'll share stories from our lives and our distinct generational perspectives, and we'll look to experts for insights and ideas.
Today, we're going to talk about forgetting. Not only how it plagues us, but why it's actually important that we're able to forget certain things. Here's what I have to share to kick us off, because I'm representing a different age group. My husband got a birthday card. Front of the card, getting lucky at our age is, open the card, remembering why you walked in the room. See, you're not laughing because you don't, there you go. Okay, it was a delayed laugh. It is a universal problem for people in my age group. We have to laugh at ourselves because it's that or cry. But I think at every age, we are all plagued by the idea of forgetting. What is it that you forget? I lose my phone multiple times per day, and my little AirPod case, if I'm wearing the AirPods, inevitably I've left the little case somewhere else in the house, in the pocket of the jacket I wore to walk the dog this morning, that sort of thing. What do you forget? What is your forgetting bugaboo?
Well, yeah, I mean, the main thing that comes to mind is like I'm actually pretty good at all the new like kids stuff that has become a part of my life in the last few years. But it's like what's been moved out of the way is everything I need to do for myself. So, I will regularly, what happens a lot? It'll be 10 a.m. and I will start thinking that I'm getting sick, and I'll be like, this is not good. Oh God. Oh shit. What if it's COVID? And I'll realize that actually what it is that I took 2 sips of my coffee when I woke up that morning and then got distracted doing something else. And I'm just not caffeinated. Like I was taking care of everybody else. And, I sometimes like to joke that, oh God, what is it called? Of course, now I'm forgetting it. But is it what's that fasting thing where people wait until intermittent fasting? I'll say, is it intermittent fasting, or do I just have to take care of other people's needs until 12 o'clock? Like sometimes that comes up a lot.
I remember when my kids were really little, forgetting to brush my teeth or forgetting to shower, like 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. No, maybe it wasn't 4 days, but right. The basic things of self-care were right out the window because you were so busy meeting everybody else's needs.
Absolutely. And I get the same satisfaction that I used to, before I had kids, and I would feel like I did everything for myself that I needed to do today. I get that same like dopamine hit when I think it's dopamine at the end of the night when I'm, going to bed, thinking about all the things I accomplished, like I got the kids in a great mood, got them out the door, and they're happy and dressed and fed, and everybody's, peeing and pooping where they're supposed to, and everyone's eating and all that stuff. And like, it's like that same sort of sense of completion that I would feel at the end of a day of, doing my work and taking care of myself and, all of that. And so it's so easy for, and also I need to make sure that I'm doing all the things I need to do to take care of myself. That the sort of drive for that is surprisingly not always present. I have to remember I'm getting by, but it's always amazing to me how, I've had a cup of coffee every morning since I was like 17. And the fact that I could just like not finish it because I had to wipe up Cheerios or something, is always really astounding to me. So it's like self-care. That's the thing that goes out the window for me a lot. What about
for
you?
me,
What do you?
it's starting to be. Well, it's starting to be like forgetting names or forgetting a word. And I was sort of pleased to hear that you couldn't remember intermittent fasting there a few seconds ago, because I think of it as a sign of aging when I sit there and I go, the thing. I feel like sometimes I need a couple of additional people in the room to, complete my brain. I find that I make lists more. That's really helpful in order to not forget. And the other thing I wanted to share is that as an aging human, we're all aging, but right, when you're in your 60s and you really do forget more, I feel like I need to do things to preserve my memory. I call it my dementia prevention program. So I do crossword puzzles. I do the spelling bee in the New York Times. I do words with friends, and I eat blueberries. Did you know that blueberries helps to preserve your memory? They also
No, but
taste really good.
that's that's good news. I put them on my oatmeal every morning. So I guess I was doing
There
something
you
good for
go.
my
So
brain.
you are actually 100% you are protecting your memory. I'm sure there are other foods, but I forgot what they are. And therein lies the problems. I clearly need to eat more of those foods. Gabby, I did some research on forgetting, and I wanted to share some things that I learned. What do you think?
I would love to hear that. Yes. What'd you learn?
There's a new book out called Forgetting: The Benefits of Not Remembering. It's by Dr.
Mm.
Scott Small, who's the director of the Alzheimer's Disease Research Center at Columbia University in New York. And he says memory lapses are normal and necessary for the functioning of a healthy brain. So already he's made us feel better. He says forgetting allows our brain to make space for new information, which seems logical. It also apparently helps us be more creative. It helps in decision making, and it helps us be able to think more clearly. So the thing is, there is a difference between routine forgetting and what he calls pathological forgetting. So
Hmm.
routine forgetting, I think, is everything we've been talking about. But pathological forgetting is what happens in certain diseases of the brain, and also with aging. So some of pathological forgetting is normal as well as we get older. The brain is constantly sorting out which memories to keep and which memories to purge. So the point there is we want to hang on to the good memories, right? And we want to get rid of the painful memories to a certain extent. So you've talked about nostalgia. What is
Yeah.
it about nostalgia?
I have a really interesting, I don't know if I have an interesting relationship with nostalgia, but I have an interest in nostalgia because I have noticed as I've gotten older that I have more and more nostalgia for things that were challenging at the time. And I was actually listening to a podcast recently where BJ Novak, the writer from The Office, and he's written some books, a bunch of stuff. He was talking about. He said something about nostalgia, and he said that nostalgia is memory minus anxiety, and that rang true to me so much. I have, and it's like on a small scale and a large scale. I have so many memories that as time goes by, the bad stuff fades and the good stuff remains. And it's really interesting
Lucky
when
you.
well, there's definitely bad stuff. Like another on the flip side, I will periodically, just be hit out of nowhere with a memory of something totally stupid I said when I was 15. So I definitely have retained that kind of thing too. But where it's come up for me the most, as where I've thought about it the most, has been whenever I've had a chance to revisit something. Whether a relationship or just something I remember really liking. I had this weird thing happen. This is going to sound crazy, but this weird thing happened with burritos, which I bet is not the word that you thought I was going to say.
It's
I
definitely not.
I always loved a burrito and have a very specific burrito order. And what I have found has happened over the years is a, like, kind of also what I've had happen with a lot of other things that I have nostalgia about, which is that the memory of how much I like this thing is what compels me to, in the case of a burrito, let's say, order one. But then the actual reality of it is not quite as great. So I don't get me wrong, burritos are delicious, but I remember them as so much more delicious and so much more enjoyable to eat. At least the particular kind of burrito that I'm ordering. I remember them as being so much more amazing than the actual experience of eating them. Now, one could argue that I have to expand the types of burritos I'm ordering and where I'm getting them from and all of that. And that I definitely believe that that's possible. But it's like I have
And a
this
worthy expedition.
for sure. I think that that sounds great. But I think it's like I've got this thing in my mind that doesn't, it's like the memory is so fantastic and reality almost never matches the memory. And I've had that experience with a lot of different things. Look, I had lunch with an old boyfriend once who I remembered so fondly. And when we had lunch, it was great to see him, but it was like so much time had passed. And I went into this lunch so certain that there was going to be this spark still there, and it just wasn't. He wasn't as great as I remembered, and that was kind of soothing in some ways, but it was also at the time kind of troubling because I was thinking, well, did I remember it wrong? But the truth is, I didn't. The passage of time sort of sifts out bad memory. And so by the time the memory becomes nostalgia, so much of the anxiety or trauma or sadness or whatever has been filtered out that you're just left with this sweet memory, but it just doesn't match reality. So I've been thinking about that a lot.
Interesting. I remember this T-shirt we once saw. It was a swim team reunion, and all the guys were wearing the same T-shirt, and the T-shirt said, "The older we get, the faster we were," which really speaks to that too. It's like, right? It's you can embellish a memory over a period of time, and the story gets better and better. But really, it's interesting because people will have very different memories of the exact same experience. And what ends up mattering really is the memory a lot more than the experience itself. What about photographic memory? What do you know about that? Because I learned a little bit about it this week. Any thoughts about photographic memory?
Well, my husband doesn't have exactly photographic memory, but he is obsessed with clothing. And so he remembers, he'll say to me, I always tease him, but he'll say, I'm thinking about getting a new vest or something. And I'll say, oh, okay, I'm not really somebody who thinks about vests or clothing really much at all. And he'll say, yeah, remember that one that I wore 3 years ago? It was like a Saturday in June when we went to that winery and blah, 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 blah. And I will have no idea what he's talking about because I don't remember what I was I don't remember going to the winery. And I certainly don't remember what I was wearing. And I definitely don't remember what he was wearing. But he has an exact memory of every outfit he's ever put on his body. And I just can't relate to that at all. I am sort of the idea of being able to, like, I know people with photographic memories can read a piece of text and retain it forever. Sounds really great in some ways. Like, I could imagine that maybe made school easier, but it does seem like it would be a lot to carry around.
So apparently the way this all works for real is that nobody remembers everything or every kind of information well, but some people have the ability to remember certain things, as Evan does.